I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and part 2 of the epic dogfight battle between the Samsung Galaxy S3 and the HTC One X starts right now. Part 2, time for some more comparison features between the international Samsung Galaxy S3 and the international HTC One X. But before we get into that, some love to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones like this, the Galaxy S3, the One X, for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game, which we turn around and give to you on the site. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, they'll help you set up your email, your web. It's a program they do called Walkout Working, and they'll make sure when you walk out the door, everything's set up so you don't have to really waste your time, you know, at the restaurant trying to fiddle with things, get everything set up. You can enjoy more time with your loved ones, with your cat, with your dog, whatever, at Best Buy Mobile. Actually, you can't really enjoy it at Best Buy Mobile, but you can play with your cat or your dog when you get home. Special thanks to them for hooking us up with some cool phones. So back into it, Galaxy S3, HTC One X, and you know, honestly, it's a hard dogfight because they're both awesome high-end Android phones, and it's really going to depend, and I know I say this a lot in the video, but particularly with these, it's really going to depend on the user interface that you like more. I mean, they're both spec'd incredibly well. They have some benefits across the board, and not to spoil it too much, but I think the HTC One X has a slightly better camera. I think the Galaxy S3 has a better battery life. And then obviously you get a bigger display ever so slightly over on the Galaxy S3. One feature I really enjoy on this device, we'll talk about videos on this, and we'll go into the apps. Forgive me while I pull this away. I've been using this as my personal device, so I can't show all of this. But we're going to play a video here so you can see what it looks like. And this is a cool feature. I can play it on my home screen and move it around. So if I want to check other things while I'm working, I can go and check my text messages, go back to the home screen, and the video stays right there. When I want to get rid of it, all I have to do is move it away. Just like that. Likewise over here I've got YouTube capabilities, and both of these are running on AT&T SIM cards. In the United States, both of these will support AT&T HSPA Plus. They don't, to my knowledge, support T-Mobile's HSPA Plus right now because it operates in the 1700 megahertz spectrum in the United States. Now, T-Mobile's refarming it to 1900 megahertz. It should work just fine once everything gets refarmed. And if you're in an area that's already been refarmed, like San Francisco, the Moscone Center during the Apple event this week as a refarmed area, you should be able to take advantage of 3G. But right now, it looks to be edge only. You've got YouTube on both of these devices. I was going to try and pull it up as quickly as I could to show you what it looked like, but it is kind of dragging and taking its sweet time here. Let's jump into Quadrant Standard and take a look at that first. And let's do Quadrant Standard here. Quadrant Standard over here, and we're going to run the full benchmark. Now, both of these get high marks in call quality. It's been very impressive across the board. The earpiece, I'll give a slight edge to the HTC One X. It's a little bit louder. The Galaxy S3, very clear sound on it, but it's a little bit low for my taste. Even at the highest volume, I still kind of struggle from time to time to hear on the Galaxy S3. Speakerphone, good on both. Slight edge on speakerphone goes to the Samsung Galaxy S3 based on, so far as I can tell, the placement the actual speaker. I actually prefer where it is in the Galaxy S3. I think it's a lot easier when you're on speakerphone to have it up at the top as opposed to at the bottom where you'd be holding the device. So it is a hat tip ever so slightly to the Galaxy S3. Both are great in the call quality department. Battery life is noticeably better on the Galaxy S3. 1800 milliamp hour battery here, 2100 milliamp hour battery here, and obviously the battery life is going to be slightly different on both of these with the US version of the One X and coming soon the US version of the Galaxy S3, both of which pack 4G LTE connectivity. But battery life's incredible over here. I've gotten with pretty heavy use, I've gotten just under 17 hours of use on the Galaxy S3. And if you follow me on Twitter, PhoneDog_Aaron, you'll see what I'm talking about. I put up a picture of it. So let's take a look at Quadrant Standard and see which one comes in on top in this particular dogfight. Take it with a grain of salt. It's not always indicative of day-to-day performance, but what I will tell you is this is by far the smoothest Android device I've ever worked with. The One X comes pretty darn close, but I still see it stutter and lag ever so slightly from time to time. No problems whatsoever. TouchWiz is optimized almost flawlessly with Ice Cream Sandwich. I was actually pretty shocked at how fluid this device is. 5,592 over on the Samsung Galaxy S3, sending the results now over on the One X. Now it's loaded up, 5,592 on the Samsung Galaxy S3, and then on the HTC One X, 4,543. Again, Quadrant Standard, grain of salt, but in this test, the Galaxy S3 pulls ahead. Now, over on the HTC One X, I talked about this in part 1 for the Galaxy S3, but we'll talk about this over here. Back button, home button, and then my recent applications button over here. Now, you'll notice HTC's made some customizations to this, a little bit different over here, but basically the functionality is the same. You can remove those recent apps through the by swiping up and getting those out of the actual menu itself. Let's take a look at camera as well. 8 megapixel cameras on both of these. HTC during their press event in Barcelona when this device was announced touted this as the best mobile camera to hit ever. And then the Galaxy S3 came out and said, well, wait, we have a pretty good camera as well. In all honesty, not to spoil the fun, they're both awesome cameras. But in my opinion, based on testing, based on working with them for a few days, the narrow edge goes to the HTC One X. I love the features on the Galaxy S3 though, which makes it challenging. We'll come over here and take a look, for example, and no physical buttons on either of these devices, but you've got burst mode, which is one of my favorites. Press and hold. Sounds like a machine gun. Take all those pictures, pick your best picture, and I can come over here and select the best shot, and it's that easy. I can do the same thing here when I'm shooting video. Say you're a soccer game, shooting the video, I can still take still pictures while I'm shooting video, which is a really nice feature as well. If you're watching the soccer ball go by, you want to shoot the video, but you're like, that's a cute picture, you can do that over on the One X. Very similar features, actually let me leave that up. Similar features over here on the Galaxy S3. You've got a couple of different options by going in here to single shot. We'll go into burst shot, for example, and I'm going to turn on, there are two different options here. Burst shot allows you to take up to 20 pictures. Best shot is what you want to turn on if you want to take the best picture. So we'll come in here and you'll see it auto focusing in, press and hold, and then it'll process all of those images, and I get to go through and find the best image out of these. So I can go in here and check, select the best photo. I can cancel that when I'm done. So I can save all those pictures. If I have best shot turned off, it just stores all 20 of the pictures. I don't have a choice to select the best one. I get a couple of different options in here like HDR, I get smile shot, I get share shot, and buddy photo share. Now this is a pretty cool feature which I don't have another Galaxy S3 in-house, or I'd show it to you. You can get on Wi-Fi. Let's say you're at that party with friends. You all have Galaxy S3s. One of you takes 10 pictures, one of you takes 5 pictures, one of you takes 2 pictures, and then the other guy takes 0 pictures. Well, all of you will leave the party with 17 pictures thanks to Buddy Photo Share. It's a really nice touch. And then you can take pictures, for example, of yourself or of your friends, and you can tag those faces, and you get options to email or to do a couple of other things with those pictures. Likewise over here, video camera mode as well. I can come in here, and forgive me while that's a little bit out of focus. Let's get this back into focus so you can see. Shoot the video, and then I can take stills while I'm shooting video here as well. So very similar features over in the Galaxy S3. Slightly better image quality, ever so slightly on the One X, but I would say the Galaxy S3, in terms of the features, the Buddy Photo Share. So it's going to depend on what you want more. If you want the features, Galaxy S3 is packed with better features in my opinion. If you want the better image quality, ever so slightly, it's One X, though I would argue that I think it's a very negligible image quality difference between the two devices. So let's take a look at browsing really quickly, and forgive me, I had to put this one on Wi-Fi because it was having data issues for whatever reason. I'm going to pull this out here so I can actually see it and load up phonedog.com so you can take a look at what it looks like over here, and then I'll show it to you over on this one as well. We'll go into the web and take a look at some of the browsing features. Internet, let's go to phonedog. Phonedog.com. Pinch to zoom, very responsive on both of these. You're going to see the option for your windows there, your browser windows, so I can easily see those and scroll back and forth between them. Likewise over here, scroll all the way up. Once it's loaded, I'll show you those as well. Pinch to zoom, very responsive over on this device. No lag whatsoever. This Exynos processor, I love me some Exynos, and this one is a great performer as well, to the point where I've looked into working with this one long term. I mean, the S4 is going to be a great device, don't get me wrong, but I do love the Exynos chipset. It performs incredibly well. So PhoneDog's over here. Actually, while this is loading, since we've already looked at PhoneDog, I'm going to load up a different picture. KCHphotos.com. KCHphotos.com. If you ever wonder, if you follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, you've seen those professionally done shots. She did these shots, which I think there's some pictures of me on her website, so I was going to try to pull those up so you could see what the image quality looked like with like a professionally done picture, because both of these are HD displays. It's important to take a look at picture quality, and you can see here, for example, these little thumbnails just aren't doing it justice, but still incredible screen quality here. The PenTile display has not bothered me in the slightest over on the Galaxy S3, and hopefully this one will load at some point. You've got some settings over here in menu, like view desktop site, enable flash player, and more. So both of these, honestly are awesome devices. You really can't, I say this in a lot of dogfights, but this is probably the hardest one I've done in 2012. They're both awesome devices. If you have the One X, if you have the Galaxy S3, you got a killer device. It's going to be tough for those people, though, that are coming in for the first time. They're not sure which one to buy. And by a narrow, very, very, very narrow margin, the winner of the dogfight, are you ready for this? Is the Samsung Galaxy S3. In terms of features and overall package, it offers ever so slightly more than the HTC One X. It also has something that's very important that the One X, obviously HTC appeals to developers, they appeal to consumers as well to an extent. This thing is very consumerized. You look at TouchWiz, you can see it's got elements of some other operating systems. It's very iOS look and feel in terms of the way it scrolls. It's incredibly fluid, and that's something that I absolutely love about this device. Very fluid, very easy to use. They're really going to appeal to the consumer base, and that's going to chip away at the iOS base in the retail stores. That's very important. So the Galaxy S3 wins by a narrow margin. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with both of these devices. Keep it locked on the site. They're both killer devices, but by a narrow edge, Galaxy S3 takes it home. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/PhoneDog. Hit us up. Let me know which one you like the best on Twitter. PhoneDog_Aaron on Twitter, on Google+, gplus.to/PhoneDog. And be sure to vote for your favorite in our official smartphone rankings at PhoneDog.com/rankings. Thanks for watching. Much more coverage to come on these two killer devices, the Samsung Galaxy S3 and the HTC One X on PhoneDog.com.